Oh yeah, man. Whew. It don't stop. It don't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't look as fun as it is on TV when you're just trying to hustle.
I know, right? I'm like, man. Whew. Sometimes I just need like 2 or 3 of me.
I always say that. I was like, I can't wait till I have the ability to clone myself. Things will be so much easier.
How's things been out in Texas?
Dude, smoking right now, dude. We're going faster than we've ever gone before.
Really?
Yeah, it's getting crazy right now, bro. I think Texas is one of those markets that's not just going to be affected. I think I keep saying it. I'm on camera. I'm recorded saying it. I think we're just going to go right through the recession, man.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, the way how Texas is, man, it's just so open and things are kind of different out there. You know, I think people appreciate that. And then like the costs, you can't really beat it.
That's what it is. If you look at other markets that are exploding, like California, New York, Florida, here we're just massively underpriced. And the cool part is there's no limit to the land. I mean, we just got so much damn land. It's crazy.
Hey, I was going to ask if we can have this recording after you can send me a link to it. I can download it. Ace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to send you the link once it gets uploaded for the record?
Yeah, as long as I can download it. I'm gonna use it. We're gonna use it for a podcast.
Okay.
Last time we kind of like free ranged it. This time we actually have an outline.
Okay. Yeah. Usually about a week. Let's see, what's today? So probably this weekend it'll either be uploaded probably by Saturday or Monday at the latest, and I'll just send it to you once it's uploaded. What's been up with you, Daniel?
I'm good, man. It's just been busy, man. Literally updating my website today. A lot of random shit. I've been in a lot of meetings today.
I've been doing these 4:30 mornings every day coming up on a month now.
Damn. What are y'all doing at 4:30? Like the good morning calls, the coffee calls?
No, it's more so I've been kind of like tracking my days, you know, kind of like how people might journal or, you know, set certain times where they do things. I'm kind of like taking that, but I'm doing it with my days. And so it's just really the only time for me to get some good gym time in the morning, because I go to the gym in the mornings for like some morning swims and stuff like that. So it's really the only time I can do it.
Boom.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to talk privately too, man, off camera, so that we can see what you guys are up to and how we could just try to do some overlay, like wherever we can help, however we can provide value. Would love to work closer with you.
For sure. We'll definitely do that.
Sick, man. Yeah, I think we do a little bit of that ourselves too. I think we're so busy working, you almost forget to have a morning routine because you're just like trying to destroy it. And I start trying not to take any meetings until 12. So I'm at the gym at 9, you know, trying to do the family thing when I get back from the gym, and then first meeting at 12. And then of course now we're ready to work till midnight. So
right. Yeah, man. Sometimes that's just what it takes. You know what I mean? So to get to that next level and the level after that.
Yeah, grow until it hurts.
Oh yeah.
And then grow some more.
We'll go ahead and kick this thing off. I'm sure people will start calling. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I got some good news for you before we get started, if you don't mind me sharing.
Go ahead, let's hear it.
I got pre-approved today for $350K at 6.75%, man. I think that's good for the market that we're in.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm looking for a fixer-upper right now so I can convert it into a multifamily and get that ball rolling, man. I wanted to come in and let you know because I know you've been with me since the beginning. So
that's what's up, man. Congrats, bro. Is that going to be in Florida or what?
Yeah, it's going to be here in Tampa. I'm going to house hack for the first couple of years while I can stack up and do it again. But my goal is to find something that's basically a shell, hopefully something under 100K, even if it's a little bit in the country, a little bit. Renovate it and find a place that's a little bit. I'm thinking about looking for something close to. We have lagoons out here that people go and visit when they come and travel. So I'm thinking of situating somewhere out there, so that way I can short-term rental in the meantime, while I stack up again to do it all over again, essentially. So,
man, that's what's up, man. Congrats on that. Reach out to me in the Discord, man, along the way. If you ever have questions, you know how I get down. So if you need any help or have any questions on stuff, man, please reach out and keep me updated on your journey.
No, yes, sir. I definitely will. I'll hit you up after our class today for sure, because I definitely have some questions. But thank you, man.
No problem. Congrats. All right, you guys. So we're back again for another real estate class. I got Hivemind on with us for round 2.
This show is sponsored by Hivemind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the Hivemind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Let's see, I got Hivemind on with us. We got Daniel and Anthony back. If you guys missed the last class that they put on for us, I really highly recommend after this class is over that you guys go back into the university section and check it out. They dropped a lot of gems, a lot of knowledge, a lot of information. I took a lot out of it. I know the members took a lot out of it because some people reached out to me afterwards, and I believe that a few people connect with you guys after that class. I believe so.
Yeah, we had
You guys had a few. So I'm gonna let these guys go ahead, hop on, let them reintroduce themselves again, let you know what they're about, and then you guys can go ahead and dive right into it. So without further ado, you guys go ahead.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll go first, Anthony. I'm Daniel Martinez. I am CEO of Hivemind. I kind of run the software side. Anthony runs the real estate side. We kind of do like a co-branding business that does a lot of cool things, which we kind of touch on a little different things. For everybody to know, I used to be a truck driver about 4 or 5 years ago, and I used to be a forklift operator, loaded trucks. Ended up starting my own trucking company. I operated that for 2 years, ended up grossing like $550K in revenue. Ended up pivoting from that into real estate and software. And I met Anthony right at around that time, and we've been partners ever since. So that's kind of like my story. Anthony, want to kind of give yours?
Yep. Hey, what's up, everybody, man? Thank you, and big shout out to Wealth Squad, man. We're big Wealth Squad fans. So you're in the right room. I think business is about being like in proximity to people that are doing big things. So just connecting with people like the Ace and them and the Wealth Squad, like you guys are definitely in the right room. I have a construction background and I have a 15-year marketing background. I accidentally got into real estate just from doing marketing. I was going to build a family house for myself, so I was looking for land, and combining that with marketing, we've realized we found a way to position ourselves. I would say it's probably the best positioning that you can do in real estate, you know, and we say some of the things we say, and like, I just wish that you knew us personally so that you can know that we come from a place of humility, not capping, not arrogance. But I want to teach you guys today how to leverage $1 billion worth of loans at 0% interest, piece by piece, right? What's the biggest way to eat an elephant in very, very small increments. So that's what we're going to talk today about. We are real estate investors. We'll look at any type of asset, but we found a way to leverage land. I would say probably more powerfully than anybody else I've ever heard before in the real estate space. And again, like I said, it comes from a place of complete humility, because we're so brand new that we're still kind of in that honeymoon phase where we're just appreciative for where we are and the connections we've made and the types of deals that we have done before, and also that we're working on. So I think anybody on this call is going to learn something today. You've never heard this information anywhere else before. And you can probably bless a lot of people, your friends and family, with this information. It's going to take your investing career and your real estate career. Even if you're not in real estate yet, you're going to learn it at the very highest level today. We want to talk about our main focus is land, right? And even if you're in self-storage, if you're in apartments, if you're in house flipping, or no matter what you're doing, this is only going to accelerate what you're up to. And it's also the fastest way I've ever seen to grab cash in real estate and to leverage high dollar assets, you know, with almost nothing out of pocket. So just one deal right now, I'm about to lock up tomorrow. I'm buying $1 million lot for $600,000, and I'm going to put $5,000 down. Nobody's going to check my credit. Nobody's going to ask me for proof of funds. And it's a very, very straightforward deal. I'm leveraging $1 million lot for $600,000, $5,000 down at 0% interest. Okay. And this is not our strongest deal. This is just like a run of the mill of deal that we're doing. So again, I think business and real estate is all about positioning. It's about leverage, right? Leveraging not only other people's capital, right? OPM, but also leveraging OPP, other people's property, right? If you're old school like me, I'm 41 years old, you're down with OPP probably.
Anthony, can we talk about like seller financing? Like, what is like the basics of seller financing? What does it mean? And what's like the back end leverage you get from that?
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're going to cover today. We entitled today's talk 3 ways to get land for free. Okay. And these are not $10,000 infill lots. These are $1 million lots, right? So how many $1 million lots do you have to leverage before you hit a B, right? And also, if you can leverage them with very little to nothing out of pocket, again, it's going to put you in a pretty strong position. So where did you want to start on the seller finance? Where do you want to start on?
What is seller financing? I guess is the first question.
Okay, so seller finance means where you ask the person that owns the property to bankroll the deal for you. So if you're already in real estate, if you're already investing, if you're buying businesses, you are finding people that can lend you money, right? So somebody mentioned right now before this call that they're borrowing $300,000+ at 6% interest, which is for private capital in today's market, that's freaking amazing. That's a home run and a half.
Yep.
What we're doing, we're also doing that. We're also leveraging other people's money. But what we're doing is we're asking property owners to be our bank, right? And your property owner is not going to check your credit. They don't care what your debt to income ratio is. All of that goes out the window when you're working with seller finance. So you're looking for people that own properties, that own assets that they either can't move, that they're asking too much money for, or that they're just like in just some kind of like awkward mid stage where there's too many heirs. There's something that's happened in their life where they can't just grab this property, throw it on the open market, and then make all of that cash back. So it's a very unique situation. And then you tell yourself, well, yeah, but what are the odds of that happening? But every single real estate deal is like that. Every single investment is like that, right? Even if you're investing in the stock market, even if you're investing in like private capital, if you're lending money, if you're looking for apartment complexes or self-storage, or you're looking for the right crypto to buy. We just recently dropped 30 grand on an NFT project that's already like 2.5x. So we understand other asset classes, but if you're looking for these like once in a lifetime unique opportunities in any investing space, then it's like they're always hard to find, right? So, yeah. But what are you paying attention to? So within the last, I would say 90 days, 120 days, we focus our efforts into land deals that are valued at $1 million and up. So if it's under $1 million, we'll look at it as long as there's $100,000 profit potential on the deal before we get involved in it. We just closed one yesterday. Oh, actually, we closed it last week, but we cashed out today. It's an $80,000 profit deal on 2 acres south of San Antonio. We never saw the property. We never went to the property. We never visited the property. And that's the land game. Again, those deals are not few and far between. That's just like a run-of-the-mill average deal that we're looking for. I
do want to mention too, one thing cool about seller financing is that you can 40% of all the property in the United States is owned free and clear. It's owned free and clear. There's no debt on them. Either it's passed down, inherited, they paid off the mortgage. There's no debt on them. So imagine, and what he mentioned early on was leveraging $1 billion, is that if it's free and clear, they can be the bank and you can get a free loan on that without having your credit pulled. So imagine thinking instead of thinking of it as property, think of it as a loan that you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, so one of our next videos we're about to make is called The Power of Leverage, right? And everybody throws around a B loosely right now, and they're like, hey, yeah, billion this, billion that. And people have no way to, like no reference point between 1 million and $1 billion. It's a huge difference. What's the seconds on that, Daniel? Like the days?
So 1 million seconds is 11 years. I think it was 11 years, right? Or 11 weeks. I forget what it was. Yeah. You remember what the first part was?
I don't know that. That's why I was asking. You're the numbers man.
I forget. Okay, so 11, and you can, for everybody listening to this later on, I forget what it was. It's 1 million seconds is like 11 days or something like that, 11 weeks. I think he's probably looking it up. And 1 billion seconds is 33 and a half years, or 32 and a half years. So between 1 million and 1 billion is a huge, huge number. Yeah. What is it, Anthony?
1 million seconds is 11 and a half days.
11 and a half days. There you go. See, so million and a billion is a huge, huge astronomical number of 11 and a half days to 33 and a half years. It's a huge difference. So we want to quantify like what that looks like in everyday dollars, just so you kind of understand what it means and what it tangibly is.
Okay. So now let's do some unbelievable math, right? We've locked up about $10 million in the last 90 days, and we have at least another 10 million in the pipeline. right? So if that scales, I don't know that it's going to scale, right? So we don't want to be up here capping, but if that did scale, you're looking at, locking up $10 million every 90 days. It's not going to take that long to get to $100 million, right? Just locked up stuff that's ready to move. And if you could 10X that, we're not that far away from locking up a B. And that only happens in large scale land business. Right now, there's one deal we're looking at that's 9 million. We're looking at another deal by north of Dallas that's 16 million. Right. So again, we're not trying to throw around crazy numbers just to sound impressive or to cap, but it's just simple math. Right. And we haven't got there yet, but we're definitely on the way. I think that what we're doing, anybody can learn. It's not that complicated. And also there's not that many hurdles. Like you think, well, this sounds like it's very complex. It sounds like there's a lot of things to look at and ponder here, but it's actually very, very, very easy. So we want to talk today again about, we titled the talk, 3 ways to get land for free. And then we'll break that down. We like to do these better, like in a conversational manner. So instead of it being like a lecture, like where everybody's just listening for an hour, if you do have questions, if you raise your hand, or if you post your questions in the chat, this conversation tends to flow better if you're asking questions as we go along. So how in the heck can you get land for free?
You asked for it.
Yeah, so just by like strategically setting up the deal, right? Again, like we're about to leverage. The lady wanted $1 million, her and her daughter. I drove out there, I checked it out. She was like, "Can you pick me up?" And I was like, "Oh my God, pick you up? Okay, cool, whatever." Like, because I already knew it was like an hour drive, so we're gonna sit in the car now for 2 hours. Now I have to make small talk. So we're driving out to the property, and she just kind of told me what's going on. Learned a lot about the property on the way out there. We checked it out. We settled on a sales price of $600,000, and we're going to give her $5,000 down tomorrow, right? So I put $5,000 down. That's not exactly free, right? So like, what exactly are we talking about here? When you get something on seller finance, you can always wrap it, right? And then with these big land deals, these sellers know that this is not going to close in 10 days or 15 days or 20 days or 30 days. It's just not going to happen. A lot of this stuff, we lock it up for 90 days, 180 days, a year. I have one that I've been working on for 3 years. So we've been locked up for 3 years on this land deal here in San Antonio on South 10 Road. So just for like the smallest scale example, I'm going to give you guys just so like the numbers are like digestible. And then you can think about it like in larger deals, it continues to scale without you having to have a larger down payment or a larger skill set or any capital partners. So I did a deal here it's called Orange Grove, Texas. It's about maybe an hour and a half south of San Antonio. We have another big deal we're working there too. I can tell you guys about that in a second if somebody reminds me. But I had a guy who had 5 acres and he wanted $8,000. First, he started asking like 40. We talked about 8. He ghosted me for about 90 days, calls me back, and we went ahead and settled on $8,000 for 5 acres. I sold that property for $8,000 down payment and $500 a month for 5 years, right? So if you bought a house that's worth like, let's say 75, 100, rehabbed it, rented it out, right? Did the burst strategy. And then you started to rent that house out to pay your mortgage. I mean, you did a hell of a job if you can make $500, right? On a burst strategy, like free and clear profit. We did that on a very, very small land deal with 0 out of pocket, right? On $8,000. So if you think about it in the land world, things are moved very differently than houses because the sellers can't quantify the value, right? With a house, you could say, hey, yeah, it's a 1,000 square foot house, a 1,500 square foot house. I could rent it out for $2,000 a month. So I already know what my house is worth. But with land, it kind of doesn't apply that way. So that's how we're able to get properties on seller finance. You take the property and then you seller finance it to somebody else on a wrap. And what we're looking for, like the golden goose is where you have somebody that's willing to put a down payment as the full purchase price of what you picked up before. Okay. And then you're like, well, how often is that going to come along? And again, it's no easier than finding a flip house that's going to require a full rehab that's going to be profitable, where you can either sell at a profit or hang on to it, create cash flow, and then burr out of it. It's no harder than finding a sub-2 house where somebody lets you take over the mortgage. It's no harder than finding an apartment complex, right, where you can remodel and then you can pull out your cash out that way, right, in 3 to 7 years out of some of these apartment complexes. So it's exactly the same thing, but again, it just scales differently in the land business.
So I kind of want to talk about like what's a real deal strategy that you did that we broke down that process in a little way with the house, because we've done this with houses too.
I'm trying to figure out which one is going to be like one of the best, like juiciest deals that we've done so far. So we've talked about the little ones that you can get it with 8,000. What have we done lately that's juicier than that? Okay, let me talk about
do the dealership one.
Okay, that one's ridiculous. Okay, so there's a property. I can give you the address too if you guys want to look it up. Because when me and Daniel talk on stage or we talk in front of groups, it's like, man, this is some serious cap. Like, it doesn't make no sense. Like, nobody could just do this. I got a property. It's at 13509 South I-35 Frontage Road in San Antonio, Texas, 78073. It's a commercial property. It's 0.58 acres. I got that property by somebody gave me a house. It was a sub-2 house. So this is a 3,000 square foot house, and it has all wood floors, granite countertops. And I got that house sub-2. I asked the girl, I said, hey, can I get, does everybody in here know what sub-2 means?
No, just explain it.
Okay, if you don't know what sub-2 means, can you put a 1 in the chat for us, just so we can kind of gauge the room? I've never heard the word sub-2. I don't know what that means. That's not helping me.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to cover it.
Okay, sub-2 means that you buy a house that's subject to the existing mortgage, right? So somebody has a mortgage on a house, they can no longer pay it, and now you come in there, and instead of you buying the house outright with your own cash or going out and getting your own loan, you buy the house directly from the seller, subject to the existing mortgage. Okay, so that means that the mortgage stays in place, it stays in the original seller's name, but you take title and deed to the property now. So now I'm the rightful legal owner. If the owner tries to take me to court, they'd have to sue me for the house back, which is, you know, that's a slim shot. But it means that if the person has a mortgage loan with you know, Capital One Finance or whatever, then we take over the mortgage. We continue to make the payments in the seller's name, but now we're the legal owner of the property.
So I have a special assignment for everybody here. If you're listening to this later on, or you want to check this out later, go to Zillow. When you go to Zillow, there's a search requirement. You can search for keywords. Now, the hack in this is to look for assumable loans. This is kind of like sub-2, but they're assumable. There's sellers out there selling their property with an assumable loan, whether it's a VA loan or some other type of loan, where they're essentially going to pass on the responsibility to that new buyer with the loan staying in place. So you can go to Zillow, look for the keyword section, look up assumable, and look in the state of California, look in your favorite state, and see how many properties are there assumable. Those are properties that the seller is trying to sell with a loan staying in place.
If anybody in here was paying attention to that, you might want to hit rewind or watch this conversation again. That's a freaking gem. So you go into these large databases, right? Real estate moving into the future is not about how much capital you can raise. It's not about how many conversations you can enter like this one. It's knowing information. It's knowing data, right? So Daniel just gave you guys a way to go back, look at the data of Zillow, and then find somebody that has already used the keyword assumable or seller finance in their search terms. Then you can go to any state, right? There's 50 of them. You can go to any state and find people that are willing to let you take over the payments on their property. And what is that? That's leverage, right? If you can go in there, like I said, like we're about to leverage $1 million lot for $5,000. So if you can go to these large database websites and you can use those search terms, that's crazy, guys. That's better than texting sellers, calling sellers. That's better than watching charts all day. I mean, that's a mad gem. So Juan Gonzalez asked,
maybe too big of a gem.
Sorry?
So that may be too big of a gem.
That's a freaking gem, dude. Yeah, we've been doing this for 4 years, and marketing is tough. It's expensive. You get your teeth kicked in. But if you can go direct to the sellers that are willing to let you take over their property, I mean, that's crazy. Juan Gonzalez asks, the question we have is, what are you guys looking to get from the Weld Squad, and how can we help you help us?
I already answered that question. Go to the bottom. Somebody asked, why would an owner do a sub-2? And okay, let's go into that deal.
Let me come back to this real quick. Let me answer one real quick with my own spin on it. So the reason we like to give talks like this in front of people is because we designed Hivemind, right, to be a marketing engine. All it is a marketing engine. It's a CRM, but it's also a marketing engine because we look for deals like this. Like I said, like they're not very easy to find, right? And if you find an apartment complex, if you like the other assets that we've talked about, they're very difficult to find. But you will find that if you're on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, it's a public forum, and you say, hey, I'm looking for 100 acres in Texas or 1,000 acres in Texas, you stand out like a sore thumb, right? So if you're just starting to have those conversations and you do happen to find, hey, this guy called me, he has 8,000 acres south of San Antonio, we want to know about it. We want to help you. We will find the funding. We'll help you negotiate it. We'll go out and actually walk the property. There's a lot of things that we have in place that we will do for you if you come across those types of assets. So like I said, if you're out there saying, hey, I'm looking for a flip house that's 60 or 70 cents on the dollar, everybody's looking for that, right? And that kind of gets lost in the weeds. But if you're out there saying, hey, I'm looking for 200 acres, right, by Austin, Dallas, or San Antonio, or Houston, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. People are going to ask you, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I have something. Can I talk to you? I talked to a guy today who hit me up on Facebook. He has 500 acres in the pipeline. So main thing is like I said, it's just a way for you to learn, a way for you to soak game. If you come across a land deal and you're staring at it like, I don't know what the heck to do, hit us up and we'll be glad to help you and walk you through those deals. So somebody asked, why would an owner do sub-2 method? There's a lot of reasons. So the one that I picked up, that's 3,000 square feet that I traded for that dealership on I-35. She just needed to get out of the mortgage. She was only one payment late, but she had already separated from her husband. She's there with 4 kids that are in like middle school and high school. So she's like, I'm not exactly losing the house, but I already know I'm going to lose it. Things are about to get worse from here on out. So she said, look, she told my, this is a friend that my sister went to school with. She's like, I see you guys are doing real estate. She said, I'm either going to do 2 things. I'm going to give the house to the bank or I'm going to give the house to you. That was it. That's exactly what she said. So I said, look, thank you. Cool. Yes, we'll take it. Let me give you $5,000 at least for your trouble. And she said, I don't want your $5,000. I just don't want you to pay my mortgage late. Can you do that? Done. So we took that property that we got for free and we traded it for a commercial property on I-35 south of San Antonio. That's worth $500,000. So that's just, those are the types of deals. That's kind of just one scenario why the seller's willing to give up the mortgage. What does the ex-owner walk away with in a sub-2 deal? It really depends. You know, like I said, sometimes they just want relief.
Yeah. I say this a lot too, is where most people think a house is a blessing. That's 30 years of time they have to hold it, where it can't be an anchor. Because sometimes houses turn into anchors too, where they might lose their job, COVID hit, a moratorium hit, like they might have tenants and they're not paying rent. There's a lot of things that can happen in 30 years that could make the deal go wrong. So whenever we do subject to it, it's relieving the pain. It's they don't get a foreclosure on the record, which can affect them from buying a house for the next 7 to 10 years. And we take over payments, so it actually benefits. We make payments on their behalf, which helps their credit in the long run. So I was talking to my mother, my family member, and they lost their house to foreclosure a couple of years ago. And I was telling them that we could have helped them, like knowing what I know now, and I was a baby back when they went through it. Knowing what I know now, we could have helped them, preventing them from going to foreclosure, because they couldn't buy a house for 10 years. And that's a long time to wait to buy a house. So knowing this strategy, hey, if you've had a foreclosure, this is an opportunity to buy a house without applying for credit, without applying for financing. This is a way to acquire a house. So we're going to kind of cover that a little bit later on in the call, but that's kind of, we're looking for people that are stuck in the situation where they don't have any other options but relieve the pain of seller finance. Like right now, what's happening with the high interest rates, as interest rates go down, as interest rates go up, the price value goes down. So people just bought houses, they have no equity in those houses. So whether they're moving, they need to sell, or relocation, they need to sell that house, and they have no equity. So now they have to bring money to the table to sell that house. And this is where we come in. There's properties listed on the market right now. There are 120 days that the seller has to move, and they can't afford to bring money to pay the agent off. So all you have to do is contact that one person and you can get a deal out of that.
Check this out now. So now somebody's asking about how does this work with agents, right? And you just mentioned properties that are on market. So if anybody's not looking, 63 acres for 800, Georgia market for 1 year. If it's been on the market for a year, it's probably massively overpriced, but we're happy to pay full price for properties, or even over asking price if they're willing to finance it to us for 30 years. And we can talk about that in a few minutes as well. So check this out. This property was listed. Somebody in my office brought me this deal. They said, hey, this person wants to sell. And they said it's listed for $750,000 here in the south side of San Antonio by downtown. I'm like, nah, just move on to the next deal. And they said, wait a minute. They said they just need to get out of the mortgage, right? So if you're asking, why would somebody possibly let you take over the mortgage? Check this out. Look at this house. You can go to, if anybody's on the computer or on your phone, type in 318 Jennings, Jennings, in San Antonio. 318 Jennings. This was a listed property. Check this out. If you could just look at your screen real quick, if you're not on your phone, if you don't want to look up the listing yourself, this is on realtor.com. But look at this thing, 5,050 square feet by downtown San Antonio. Downtown is exploding. Wraparound porches, that's the living room right there. 100-inch TV in the living room for no reason. It was all fully furnished, chandeliers in every single room, 4 chandeliers in the living room. That table right there is probably, I don't know, 15 feet long or bigger, with like nice Victorian furniture. We got that house subject to, they let us take over the mortgage because the people, they remodeled it. They put $200,000 into the house and they didn't have enough to pay the mortgage after they spent all the money remodeling it. They thought it was going to sell in a heartbeat and it didn't sell. So yes, you can acquire VA loans this way. So I went and checked out the property the very next day after that seller talked to us. We ended up getting it for $10,000 out of pocket. So a house that was listed on the open market with a real estate agent, they gave us the keys to the house for $10,000 down, right? Why would somebody do that? Because they remodeled it for $200,000 and they couldn't carry it anymore. We have a 2-year balloon on the house, and all we're doing is we're responsible for PITI, payments, insurance, taxes, and interest is all we're paying on that house, which is roughly about $2,400 a month. We have 2 years to pay it off. So that's the game. Yeah, it's for $440 on Zillow, but if you look up the old listing, it was listed for $750,000. So hell of a deal. 5,050 square foot house. We picked it up for 10 grand. Let me see if we can go back to, I appreciate the questions too, guys. These are great questions. This helps us break down further what we're doing.
Somebody asked, Walter asked, so how did you trade the commercial property and what does that mean?
Okay, so on that property, yep. So I had a lady that we contacted south of San Antonio. I was looking to open up a car dealership or some sort of dealership. I wanted a public, property that I could sell things on, equipment, RVs, that kind of stuff. And my wife and myself drove by the property, and it's had to be 2019. And we were, it was Valentine's Day. So we we're supposed to go to the movies or dinner or something like that. I'm like, look, do you want to go out or do you want to go find some commercial property? She's like, let's go find property. So we ended up driving up and down I-410 and I-35 south of San Antonio looking for stuff. We found this property. We contacted the lady. She said, yes, I'll sell it. Yes, I'll work with you. Yes, I'll sell or finance it. All those things. So we went and toured the property with the lady. She said, I want $330,000. I asked her, as of course we're friends now, we're talking on the phone all the time. I said, yes, we want to get the deal done. Property needed a ton of work. And I said, hey, what are you going to do with that money when you get that money? So here's the gem right here. I hope everybody remembers this, write it down, paste it on your keyboard, something. We always ask the seller what they plan to do with the money, because you're going to be surprised what you uncover. That's like probably the single most important question you can ask to any property seller is, what are you going to do with the money when you sell this property? So I asked the lady that, and she said, I'm going to pay off a house that I can live in cash for myself because I'm living at my sister's house. I'm going to pay off a house cash and I'm going to live off the rest of it. So I had recently got this property from my sister's friend, and we took it over sub 2, and I just showed her the pictures the same way I showed you guys. And she said, is that for me? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. So we drove out to the property with the seller. She checked it out. She absolutely loved it. She said, yes, what do I have to do to get this property? And I said, look, why don't you give me your property? And I said, and then this house, I said, there's a mortgage on it, right? I took over the mortgage on this house. I said, I'll give you the keys to this house. You live here. I'll pay the mortgage on it if you give me your property. So we did a property swap, and now I'm paying the mortgage on that house while I get this $500,000 property for free, for a house that I got for free for $200,000. So like a $230,000 house. It's appreciated $100,000 since the market exploded. But easily the value on my property is probably somewhere between 500 and 700. And like I said, it was just an even property swap. When I give her free and clear title to the house, I get free and clear title to the commercial property. But for right now, I'm paying an even $2,000 a month. That includes payments, insurance, taxes, and interest.
All right. So that's the whole story for that one. So you traded a free house for a commercial property for free.
Somebody asked, is it possible to buy these properties when you don't have any money for the down payment as well? What's that process like? Yes. So again, I got this sub 2 house. I gave her 0. I offered her 5,000. She said no. So if you don't have any money for the down payment, right, then what about the monthly payment? What about the $2,000 a month? Easily that house could rent for or sell as a seller finance for $2,500 to $3,000 a month. So you would be in it for 0 down, and then somebody else is paying your payment. So here's, for instance, The commercial property, right now I have it leased out for $29.50. After 1 year, the guy's payment goes up to $3,500, his rent, while my PITI is $2,000. So in like 30 days or 60 days or less, that property will be cash flowing $1,500 a month. And he's the one that's paying my mortgage for the house that I got for free.
How do you deal with realtor objections?
Yeah, so like I said, so this property was listed with a realtor, and I told the girl, I said, look, I understand it's listed with a realtor. We have to give her some cash. Tell her that she's still going to get whatever her commission was. So for her selling the house, she's still going to get the same commission. But once she found out what we were doing and we're going to take over the mortgage and do all this other stuff, she said, look, I don't want the money. She said, I want you to give me the amount of time that I had left to sell the property. So the realtor was pretty confident that she was going to be able to sell the property before we could close on it. So I think she still had like 3 weeks left in her contract or 30 days. And the seller even called me back. She was like, hey, the realtor said she still wants to stick with the contract that we signed. And she wants me to be able to give her all the time that she asked for to be able to sell the property. She doesn't want any money at all. Great. Sounds amazing. Give her all the time she needs. I'm in no hurry. I'm not trying to knock anybody out of a deal. I'm not trying to take food off of anybody's plate. And yeah, she, like after her 2 or 3 weeks elapsed, whatever it was, 30 days, the realtor walked away with zero and we still closed the deal. But my main thing is, if there's a realtor involved, pay them. That's the easiest way to go after, because we're actually going to cover that in today's call as well, is going after on-market properties. Pay the agent exactly what they had coming anyway. You have it in the spread, right? We're about to sign up tomorrow a property where we're going to have $400,000 plus in equity. Like, yeah, I'll pay the agent whatever they want. Sounds amazing. And the agent, all the agent wants to do is get done. We probably won't have time to cover it today. I don't know if we're going to get invited back, but if we do, I'll cover next time because we're all looking for motivated sellers. If you're in real estate, next time we're going to cover how to find motivated real estate agents and how that applies to the business. So we always want the real estate agent to get paid whatever they have coming. We don't want anybody to lose or get cut out of any deal. That's not what this is about.
Can I cover my rap story? I got a rap story.
Yep.
So I bought a house in Georgia. I'm originally from Atlanta. I'm originally from Chicago, but I moved to Atlanta. So I bought a house when I was living in Atlanta for like my second year there. So this is my house that I bought. I bought it for $205 in South Atlanta, right? When I was gonna move right before COVID hit, right end of 2019, early 2020. It was right around that, right when COVID hit, because COVID hit February of 2020. So I was moving out of Georgia, and I didn't want to sell with an agent, because if I sell my property right then and there, I can only get whatever my spread is on my mortgage, and plus the agent costs and closing costs. I was only going to walk away with like $5,000. And I'm like, man, I just learned about real estate. So I'm like, okay, there's a better opportunity with this transaction. So it's kind of like subject to, but I use my own mortgage. I subject to my own mortgage. This is what I did. So when he talks about wrap, is rewrapping that for another buyer. There's a lot of 1099 employees, entrepreneurs, even real estate agents that are really good agents. They have a high income, but they can't get a mortgage because they don't have it doesn't show on their taxes. I'm sure ACE qualifies for this, and like all these entrepreneurs, they cannot get a mortgage. They can't. So I knew that coming into this. I'm like, okay, I have a mortgage. Yes, it's not subject to, but I mean, I can leverage my own mortgage. Why not? If I sell this on the open market through that agent, I'm only going to get $5 to $10,000. Let's just see what I can make with this. So I put my deal on Marketplace, and this is before the COVID big boost of housing prices went up. So I'm like, okay, my house is probably worth about $230. Let me see if I can sell this thing for $260 with $30,000 down, and then cash flow this deal instead of getting a renter, because I don't want to rent her, because right now I live in California and I moved from Atlanta to California. I don't want to manage a rental 300 miles away. That sounds like a nightmare. So what I did is I put it on Marketplace, and all these agents come up. You want to list your property? You want to list your property? No, I don't want to list my property. I'm good. So I found a entrepreneur 1099 buyer with I put on Marketplace that I was asking for $50,000 down. And people, when you ask for higher than you want, people are like, oh, I got 15, I got 20, I got 25. And my sweet spot in my head was 30. So I'm like, let me ask for 50, and then they can buy down at 30. So I had a guy come in. He's like, I have $30,000 down. Let's do this deal. The dude already owned a house in Florida, and he just couldn't apply. He couldn't afford to get another house based off his income, because he was an entrepreneur. He was a 1099 employee. So I ended up doing the deal, $30,000 down. I cash flowed 500 a month for 3 years, and now his payments come up to either refinance or restructure the loan again. Where if he pays me out again, since if he's been paying my mortgage for 3 years and I've been making 500, I got $30,000 down. I got 500 a month for 3 years, and then if he comes through the deal and gets his own financing, I'll make 70 grand on the back end. So a deal where I only made 5 to 10 grand, I pocketed 30 up front, 500 a month for 3 years, and I'll make 70 on the back end. And that's a deal that had no equity. And that was my deal that I subbed to myself to another end buyer.
If I don't know if we'll probably run out of time based on how things are flowing right now, but I can tell you about a similar deal that Daniel did like that we're working on right now, where we're planning on making 1.7 to 2.2-ish million on that deal, exact same scenario. And then I want to hit a couple more questions out of the chat, and then we have just a couple more topics we wanted to cover: making MLS offers, how to find off-market land, because somebody in the questions asked, how do we find these types of deals? That's for me. And then how to talk to sellers to ask for seller finance. So if we run out of time, somebody just grab that stage cane and just yank us off, and then we'll try again another day. I'm going to go back and check out some of these questions. Somebody asks on the sub 2 deal, it might be a dumb question, but do they move out? Yeah, for the most part, we don't want to rent back to somebody that could not already pay the mortgage. Yep. So we'd like to take these properties empty so that we can clean them up and repackage them on the back end. How do we look for folks that are looking to get out of their loan? Is this a pre-foreclosure? Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be pre-foreclosure. Yep. This could even be on-market deals, right? This could be stuff that's already listed, stuff that's been listed for a long time. So I would look for properties that are either expired listings, and then making MLS offers. You would start with the properties that have been listed for the longest amount of time, and then work your way backwards. So first it goes expired, start there, start with all the expired listings you can find. You might need to make friends with an agent or broker to find those, and then find the properties that have been listed for a year and a half and start with those, and then start working your way all the way down to properties that were just recently listed. For making MLS offers, we offer 50 to 60 cents on the dollar of the listed sales price. And if that sounds outrageous to a lot of people, imagine that they have their profit in there, they have holding costs in there, you have your agent and closing costs in there, which is roughly about 10%. So if you say, hey, look, I'll give you guys 50 to 60 cents on the dollar, or we'll do seller finance where you guys be the bank and then we'll take over the loan, or we'll buy the property from you spread out over 20 to 30 years. And that's a whole class in of itself. We could talk about that, like I said, maybe next time.
So the whole point of that is anchoring them low with a cash sale. Literally, we want them to take seller financing, because just like we said in the beginning, every property we seller finance is a free loan that we don't have to apply for.
Yep. So we talked about that, right? How can you leverage? Everything's about leverage. How do you leverage $1 billion at 0% interest? Exactly the way that we're doing it with land. So that property that was worth $1 million that we got for 600,000, we're getting that for 0% interest. So do you want to cover real quick, Daniel, like how to buy $1 million property and then sell it for $1 million, buy for 1 million, sell for 1 million, and then the cash flow that you could spread with that?
This question is good.
By manipulating the interest?
That's another call. I think we kind of covered it the first call. So if you kind of missed that one, go watch the first call. I want to answer Walter's question here. It's a good question.
Okay. You want me to cover it, or you're going to cover it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I want to see what you're going to say.
Bankrupt, do you have insurance that would cover to pay off their mortgage? So there's quite a few things you could do here. If you're going bankrupt, right, you can resell that house on a wrap. So let's say I'm responsible right now for the big house, the 5,000 square foot house. I'm responsible for like 2,400-ish a month. If we know we're going bankrupt 90 days from now, we're gonna have to tap out. Then I would just liquidate and sell that to another end buyer. Say, hey, look, give me $50,000, $100,000. The house is yours. Or again, I could find somebody and say, hey, look, I'll sell you this house for $1 million. I want $3,000 a month. Now I'm only cash flowing $600 a month. So pretty easy to get out of it. If you're going bankrupt, if you need to liquidate, you can liquidate on a wrap. You can liquidate for a wholesale fee. There's a lot of things you can do to just get out of it if you're in big trouble.
And this is where like having friends with money, because you can always liquidate with private capital too.
Yeah, there's a million ways to get out of these loans. And then worst case, if like, hey, the seller's my best friend now because we've been friends for 3 years and I don't want to hurt their credit, I'm just going to give you the house back, right? Or you can create a joint LLC where they own an LLC, you own an LLC, put it in a trust or something and say, look, I'm going to help you sell the property. I'm going to give you back all your money and then some. right? So there's a million things you could do to get out of this. Our game goes, we don't want to carry too much headache, too much stress, too much leverage, because we're not planning on going bankrupt, right? And this happens. It happened in 2008 when somebody's just carrying way too much debt and they're so much into the red that if one thing comes out, then the whole house of cards comes down. And that's not the game that we're playing. We're playing with little to no leverage at all. So very, very one property might be able to implode like that, but no chance in hell of all of that stuff imploding all at the same time, because we're playing with as much defense as possible. Like I said, worst case, we either give the property back, help the seller sell it. There's a million ways to get out of it, because we're definitely not over leveraged. We're actually like zero leverage, actually, is what we're doing, because the seller's the bank. We don't have to bow down to Wells Fargo, Chase, Farm Credit, nobody. The seller's the bank, so we can always tell them, hey, in 90 days, I'm going to have $0. Do you want your property back, or do you want me to help you sell it? What you trying to do?
I kind of want to cover like the mindset of seller financing, because the mindset of seller financing is this analogy we use with sellers and maybe even realtors sometimes too, is that if we can give them their pricing, we can sell it, they can sell it for whatever price point they want, because the price point doesn't matter if we get our terms. Because for instance, the guy that did was it 365 or 350 on the beginning of the call?
What was it?
That $350,000 mortgage. It was at 365 at 6.5.
Oh, he borrowed like 350,000 at 6 point something, 75.
All right, so I'm gonna do the debt service on them. I'm gonna do the math on this so y'all can hang with me. 6.5. So the debt service on a 30-year loan, 6.5 at 30,000 is $2,200 a month. That's PI, payment and interest, right? Oh, you put it there, Christopher. Thanks, Christopher. So that's $2,200 a month. So what can you do with $2,200 a month?
I got a good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're buying. Here, let me give addresses too, because a lot of this sounds like bullshit. Like, these guys are lying. There's no way this could be happening. So if you Google or look up 108014 IH 37 North, Pleasanton, Texas, PLEASANTON, Texas, 78064. This is a listed property. It's on market. If you look that up, it's listed for $450,000. We're getting it for $350,000. I'm putting $50,000. I have a private seller that's bringing in $300,000. We're selling those tracts, those 10-acre tracts, for $199,000 with 10% down. Okay, so let me see. I'm getting it for roughly $6,000 an acre, right? 350 divided by 54, 6,480 an acre. We are selling it for $199,000 times 5 tracts, roughly about $1 million, minus 350,000 that we're getting it for. And you said getting 350 at 675. So we're going to have $645,000. That's not profit. That's amortized over 30 years. So we're selling it on a wrap. So I'm just going to do the amortization calculator. Give me a few minutes, please. I appreciate you guys staying on here too. I know this is like a lot of information to take in, but I think it's worth it. It's if you learn the information that we're teaching, it's like, this is crazy. This is life-changing information. Like, I'm trying to teach this to like my friend, my neighbors, my daughters, strangers, everybody. So we leveraged $645,000 off this property that we put $350 into. $645 is what's going to be owed to us. $645, 30 years. We're selling everything that we do at 10% interest. So that same $350,000 borrowed, you can leverage on these types of deals $5,660 for 640, 10% interest for 30 years. So that 350K at 675, you can make 5,660 on that.
So you can cash flow $3,000.
$3,000, on that 350. And you could also, of course, flip out of it. There's a million things that you could do. So let's say we had a mortgage for 645, and then let's say we sold those mortgages for 80 cents on the dollar. Our walkaway is 516,000. I don't know that you could do that on a house, but that's what you can do with the land business with 350K liquid. And
the whole thing that we joke around, like it doesn't matter how much interest rate you get that money for. I mean, 0% interest, that's a home run, but even 6% interest, that's a home run.
Yeah, 675 in this environment is out of this freaking world. So I don't know where you got that money from, but congrats, dude. Somebody asked if we expanded to more states since our last live. We prefer Texas. This is where our money is. This is where we will spend our money. But if you have a deal in any market, we'll be happy to take a look at it. A great deal looks like I said 50 to 60 cents on the dollar, or a seller that is willing to sell or finance at a fair price.
So we're at 50 minutes. Man, that time went by fast.
Okay. Somebody's asking how to comp big land like this. You want to cover that real quick before we move on?
I mean, do a quick synopsis. I want to cover how I'm looking for a deal. Go ahead, cover how to comp land. It's easy. It's a price per acre.
So check this out. Comps don't matter with land like this. So the land that we're selling for 19,000, 199 for 10 acres, comps in the area are 12,000. Right. So we're selling 50% above ARV, right? So comps kind of don't matter in land, especially if you're doing seller finance. So for land, for comps, big land comps, I just checked realtor.com to see roughly what's pending at what price. And it also has to be the exact same size tract. So if you find a 10-acre tract, it needs to be other 10-acre tracts pending for that, because in San Antonio, you can buy 1 acre for 99,000, but you can buy 10 acres for 200, right? So you have to see what's pending at what price. We usually do that like on Zillow, realtor.com, that kind of stuff. You don't even need MLS access.
All right. So for everybody here that wants a nice house, and for different markets, that might be like $500,000 plus. For California, that might be like $1 million plus. Put a 1 in the chat. All right. I'm going to give you my play of what I'm going to do to find a house with high interest rates to find me $1 million house. So I'm literally doing this right now to find $1 million house. So remember, I told you 40% of the houses are owned free and clear. So what do you look for? High interest rates affects high end properties the most. So everybody that has expensive houses, they're the ones getting hit the hardest with interest rates. If you look up, and this is where I look at Zillow. I don't pay for any other service. Like I literally look at Zillow. You can search Zillow criteria. So in Atlanta, it might be 400,000 and 400,000 to $1 million. Because I remember in Atlanta, that's 400,000 is like a really good, nice house. Like you can search those parameters, 400,000 to $1 million, and see what's there. And for me, like I'm looking for $1 million house, 900 to 1.2 here in California. So now what you do is you're looking for a certain criteria. The more expensive the property, and think about this, if you're doing multifamily, you're doing commercial, you're doing storage, all those same idea, those properties are getting hit the hardest because of interest rates. So as the more interest rates go up, the less that value is, because and side note, if you're into commercial or anything like that, I saw a statistic today that there is $1 trillion worth of commercial debt coming up in the next 48 hours because the debt service doesn't make sense anymore, because the interest rates have gone up so high, it blows the financing out of the water. So now their debt to income isn't good enough to get a refinance out that loan. So that's a nugget for all the commercial people. For everybody else that wants a nice house like me, all right, here's the play. The play is you search for the type of house you want. It's going to be different for every market depending on the high-end house you want. Then you need to reverse engineer. So we're looking for properties, especially with a lot of equity. So for me in California, there's a lot of old money here, and there's a lot of old money in most markets. So figure out, if you're familiar with your city, you've been there, lived there long enough, you know where the old money is. There's old parts of town where old money is, where all the boomers are passing their properties and stuff like that. So think where the old money. Where's the old money at in San Antonio, Anthony?
Dude, so there's Alamo Heights here. Right now we have a property that the guy's willing. I could look up my text messages. The guy wanted 750,000 like 90 days ago, and now we got him down to about 600,000. The property fixed up is worth about 1 to 1.2.
So Alamo Heights in San Antonio, for all San Antonio people.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's Terrell Hills. There's the Dominion, where all the $1 million houses are.
So all those houses, there's probably listed in my area. I want to live in Temecula, California, in Southern California. And Temecula, California is a really nice area. And it's a nice area. It's where the old money is. So I'm looking for 900 to 1.2. In my search area, there's 200 homes that fit my criteria. From there, I work backwards and figure out days on market. There's houses that are on market over 150 days. Days on market, 150 days. Then I look at which properties, and then you can search like when they last sold. So one of the properties I was looking at the other day, it last sold for 250 15 years ago. You think they have equity? I think they got equity. And if not, they own it free and clear. If they don't have equity, they own it free and clear, or pretty much damn near to it. So now what you do is you find a way, you can pull the expired listings. We said that early on, expired listings of those criterias, or you can hit the ones on market and see if they're open to payments over time. What's our sales pitch for creative finance, Anthony?
Okay, yeah, that's something we wanted to cover as well. Is how do you ask a seller to be the bank?
How do you ask the seller to be the bank? Go ahead, Anthony.
So what we do is we do a multiple choice close. We never do a take it or leave it close. Like my offer's 350 or go to hell. We don't do that. We say, look, here's the thing. Capital is very expensive right now, right? It's super, super expensive right now. So if you want me to pay you $1 million for this property and I got to go borrow that money, this property is not going to cost me $1 million. It's going to cost me like 1.2, 1.15. So I'm trying to see if we can make a deal here. I'm an investor, right? If the only thing that provides value to me as an investor is I either need a discount or I need time to pay. Other than that, I'm just going to call somebody else, right? No hard feelings. It's just numbers. And this is another good quote. It's not me against you. It's me and you against the numbers, right? So if you want me to give you cash, if you want me to move cash from my bank account to your account, I either need a discount or I need time to pay. That's the only thing that provides value to me as an investor. If not, the guy's lot next to yours is exactly like it. I might ask him, right? So if I am going to give you a cash offer, it's going to be, I need room to pay back my lender, right? Because I buy a lot of properties. And if I bought them out of my bank account, I need to be a billionaire, right? So I'm going to leverage the capital. I'm going to borrow it from somewhere else. If I'm going to move the cash from my bank account to your account, I need a significant discount so that I can both make some profit for myself and make some profit for my lender, right? Does that sound fair? Does that sound logical? Does that sound crazy to you? No, I know you're right. So if I'm going to give you cash, my number is going to sound a lot like the other wholesalers and the other investors that you're talking to. My number is going to sound exactly like theirs for that reason. But what I would like to do is I kind of don't even want to give you that number because I don't want to offend you, right? I don't want to give you a number where you're going to hang up on me because I want to buy this property. I don't want you to hang up on me. I would love to send you a contract and I would love for you to sign it so we can get this deal done. So the other option that I'm going to extend to you, and you don't have to do this, the other option that I can do is instead of me paying another lender is I can pay you for the loan. What does that mean? Yeah. Instead of me having to go borrow $1 million, you can lend me $1 million and I'll buy the property from you. So what I can do is I can pay you very high interest on the money that you lend me, spread out over 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, so that you're not only going to make $1 million, you might make like 1.3, 1.5. You can send them an amortization schedule, right? $1 million at 8% or 9 or 10% interest spread out over 30 years, they're going to make like $4.5 million. Like, okay, so the next objection you're going to get is like, yeah, but I'm going to be dead in 10 years. I'm going to be dead in 15 years. I don't want the money then. No, sir. You're going to give me the property spread out over 30 years. It's going to be amortized over 30 years, but I'm going to put a 36-month balloon in there. I'm going to put a 5-year balloon on there. You're going to be paid off in 3 to 5 years. And you're still going to make a killing on the interest. So that saves me money from having to go borrow the money somewhere else. And it makes you a ton of money because you're getting paid 8, 9, 10% interest. Which one of those would you rather do? Do you want me to write you a check? Or do you want me to, work out some kind of scenario where I can pay you very high interest spread out over a few months?
So Anthony likes paying interest. I don't like paying interest. I'm going to ask for equal payments over 30 years. So you can take his analogy, but I'm going to ask for better terms.
But think about it. If you're paying 25% interest for 12 months, how much interest did you pay on $1 million loan?
25K.
You lend me $1 million, I'll give you 25 grand. How does that sound?
So, all right. But okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going back to my analogy. I'm looking for $1 million house. If I get $1 million house leveraged at 0% finance, it's $2,700 a month. If I were to go finance that capital through a bank, it would cost, this is at 6%, $6,000 a month. So if I'm going to ask for seller financing at their asking price at 0% interest, so it'd be under 3K. That way I'm not paying $6,000. And that's how you got a free property.
So that ties back to what I was going to mention earlier. Daniel said we covered it last call. Go watch the last call. It sounds like there's going to be a round 3. A says we need to go one more time. If you buy a property for $1 million, 0% interest, your payment's $3,000 a month.
All goes to the principal.
If you sell that property, you turn around and sell that property, you know, at
$1 million.
10%. For
$1 million.
You buy it for $1 million, you sell it for $1 million, no markup. But you just change the interest rate from 0 to 10%. How much is that?
You make $3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month spread for getting a property for $1 million and selling it for $1 million. No markup. You buy it for $1 million, you sell it for $1,001,001. Just from changing the interest, you have $3,000 a month spread created if you sell it for the exact same price that you got it for. So that's the power of playing with the interest. And that's something that we do a lot. We manipulate the interest big time. And that's how we're able to make some crazy, crazy deals. And that's why I'm also not afraid to offer 10% interest, because a lot of these deals, we're just going to take over the mortgage and we're going to turn around and we're going to get rid of them in 12 to 18 months. The longest one we've done so far has been 9 months. So if you think about that, even if I'm paying 18% interest over 9 months, right? And I pay the seller 20 grand or 30 or 50 grand in interest and I make 400,000, like, yeah, you can keep that 50. That's fine. No problem.
It's the cost of doing business.
Somebody asks, how does that change the taxes? I don't know exactly what that question means, but we got a bunch of cool tax strategies and tax conversation, and we have 2 minutes to do it in.
Oh man, I think we can break it down. So we can break this down. So taxes is another motivating factor of why these people with big properties want to sell. So for instance, I mentioned that seller who bought this house for $250 is now selling it for 1.1. There's $900,000 of capital gains tax you have to pay. And California is really expensive taxes. So there's going to be like a 20 to 30% tax implication on that 900,000. So he's going to have to pay 2 to 250, maybe even it's about 2 to 250 in taxes if I were to pay him cash. So that's one of the negotiation strategies we use is, hey, are you ready to lose 200K to Uncle Sam? Well, no. What else? What other options do I have? Well, you can take payments over time, and as long as we pay you out under $44,000 a year, it's actually tax-free money. If you're married, filing single, if you're married, filing jointly, it's $88,000. So if you have $88,000 payments spread across annually, guess what? No taxes.
Dude, that's how I just closed a property. I need to dig up the contract. I want to say it was like 1.2 million. So we had already negotiated 10,000 an acre with the guy. He was ready to sign the contract. We sent him the contract. We signed it. We sent it over to him. And then he's like, no, I need more. I need more. So he raised his price like 200 grand. And then I sat down and did the math, and I went and walked the property with him, because this is all like phone communication. I went and walked the property with him and I said, hey, you're going to pay like 21% long-term capital gains. He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, you're okay with that? I was like, why, what's your strategy there? Are you planning on doing a 1031? Like, what's going on here? It's like, no, it's fine. I was like, wait a minute, 21%. I was like, is that why you raised the property on me 200 grand so I could pay your taxes? He was like, no, that's not it. And so we backed up the property anyway. He did raise it 50, but he didn't raise it like 200 and some change. But we got him. He wanted us to pay his long-term capital gains tax. That's the price he had raised it to. And since he knew that I knew that, he felt ashamed of himself and he lowered his price back like 200 grand. So that's a whole entire another ball game, is pitching the sellers and letting them know, like, hey, if you sell the property for cash, you're going to take a big giant tax hit. But again, man, I think that's going to be part 3.
Man, a lot of game dropped right now, fellas.
I bet you it sounds like we're speaking in French and people aren't in real estate. They're like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
Yeah, no, I like that you guys gave addresses for people to look up and see this stuff. Yeah, a lot of good questions in here in the chat as well. So a few people were asking how they can connect with you. I've seen you guys dropped your website a few times. Daniel, can you drop it one more time for the people that want to get in contact with you guys?
Yeah.
So that's your social media and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have you guys come on for round 3 to actually go into because I know Anthony has some actual stuff he wanted to show you guys and kind of dive a little deeper into. We just kind of got off, I appreciate you guys, answering everyone's questions. So hopefully you guys got all your questions answered. So that way, when I do bring these guys on again, they can just dive right into what Anthony has to share, because he has a lot more to share for us. So first of all, thank you guys for taking the time out of your guys' day to come on for round 2 for the squad. Like I said, what you guys are doing is what you guys are doing is great. And Yeah, it's great. Really, I don't have any other words for it. And I hope everyone listening, whether if you guys have real estate knowledge, if you guys have any type of real estate background or not, this information that was given is, is top-notch info. These guys know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. They have podcasts, they have, a website, all that good stuff that they're doing. They got boots on the ground. And as you guys can see, they got multiple deals on the table now. They had tables on the deal last time they came on, and stuff is going to keep happening. So if you guys want to get in touch with them, you guys can go, check out their website. You guys can check out their podcast. You guys can connect with them. This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what they do. I've got to talk with these guys offline. They do so much more than just what they're covering right now. This is just a very small portion of what they do, what they're covering, and where they're going. So I hope you guys do reach out, connect with them outside of this. I hope you guys took a lot of notes. Like I said, there was a lot of information was dropped. This class is going to be recorded. For those of you that, are kind of clueless or don't understand, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we're here in the class today. That's why, I tell you guys, come to class, ask questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Someone said this might be a stupid question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't know, then you just don't know. And you got to ask until you know, whether if you think it's stupid or not, just ask your guys' questions. Like I said, thank you guys all for attending the class. I don't know, Anthony or Daniel, do you guys have any kind of last words for us before we wrap this up?
Yeah, we do have a podcast called the Hype of This Podcast. And then we actually have a land mastermind where we kind of break down the bigger deals. So if you text land to 210-972-1842, that'll give you a link to our land mastermind product that we do weekly calls on. Like I said, a lot of this stuff, like, we're just here to help the platform and help all minorities out here trying to make a difference and come up in the world.
I keep on saying the real estate game looks like us now. Somebody asked me, why would somebody buy land if they're not going to build on it? People buy land for investment purposes. It's always appreciating. A lot of the richest landowners that we have met, they're all like old farmers, like that have been buying land for like 100 years, and they have properties that are worth $20 million. They don't even want to sell it. They're like, I'll just sell it someday. I'm just going to give it to the kids. So they know they got 40 million in the bank, and they're not even trying to access that cash. So people buy land just because they're going to hold on to it for a very long time. But we appreciate you, Ace, man. We appreciate the squad, and anytime we can ever provide value, we love being aligned with you guys. We think what you're doing for your community is effing amazing, bro. So yeah, thank you for having us on. Really appreciate the time.
Appreciate it. And a couple quick things that I did want to talk on that you guys had covered. When the question that was brought up about the whole realtor, I'll tell you guys from my experience, your benefit is to always make sure the realtor gets paid. Now, I would say the route of going to get in contact with the person who owns the property, I probably would try to reach out to the person who owns the property first before going through the realtor. Just because if you give the realtor your game plan, they might have other friends who maybe might do that, and they might try to pass it on to them. So connect with the owner of the property first, you guys, and let them know, hey, if you do have a realtor, let your realtor know that they're going to get paid, but this is what I want to do. Your best bet is to go to the person that owns the property first, because they have the final say of what they want to do regardless. So if you guys go the route of getting in contact with the realtor first, the deal might get canceled just based on, because if the realtor doesn't know you, there's a chance that the deal could fall through. Not saying that would happen, but your best bet is to reach out to the owner of the property first. Be upfront, you guys, in this game, and I'm sure Anthony and Daniel will back me up. Be transparent, be upfront, but you want to be transparent and upfront to the right people, right? You don't want to give your blueprint to the wrong person, because then that person might take it and pass it off to their friends or so on, like I'm telling you guys. So get in contact with the owner first. Let them know, hey, I see you have this listed on Zillow. This is my proposal to you. This is what I'm looking to do. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And let your realtor know that, hey, they are going to get their commission. I want to make sure they get paid. And then when you guys do that, by paying the realtor and making sure they get paid, you might just have made a new friend that's about to bring you more new deals. So you guys never want to step on anybody's toes. One of the other things was, hold on, let me see. Let me go back up to the question. So that was the one about the realtor. Oh yeah. Like Anthony was saying, a big reason for these deals are out there all the time, you guys. People are looking to whether if it's a single family home, a multi-family home, a commercial property, land deals, anything that's real estate related. People go through shit in life. People go through divorces. People, you know, have injuries or get some type of illness, or they get that property passed down to them and they have no real estate knowledge. They don't know what to do with it. There's literally 100+ different scenarios of why a person would want to do these type of deals, right? So it's going to be on you guys to take the time and effort to start figuring out, how do I find the person that owns the property? What type of script should I say to this person? And if you guys don't know or don't feel comfortable yet, I always tell you guys, get someone that can help you do that. This is why I brought these guys on. These are the people that can help you guys do that. So if you guys don't feel comfortable enough of reaching out, or if you guys don't know how to find, you know, the owners of the properties, or know how to look for a deal, or know how to evaluate a deal, or know how to run your numbers, get with an expert that does that. So it's like, would you rather have, you know, a small piece of the pie, or would you rather have none of the pie at all? You know what I mean? So eventually, before you can have that own pie, you need to get all the ingredients so you can make it yourself. But until you get all the ingredients, you need to figure out, you need to find someone who has the ingredients. And this is what they do. They have the ingredients to it. So once again, thank you guys for coming on. I'm gonna get with you guys offline so we can figure out a time that works to bring you guys back on for round 3.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35+ list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.onelistguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
A lot of information, you know, great class. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. For everyone in the squad, thank you guys for taking the time out of your day. You guys asked some really great questions. Seriously, you guys were spot on with the questions, and that's how you get better. That's how that's how you start building your network. That's how you start getting things handled, is by asking questions. If you just sit back and just listening and you're clueless, or if you maybe have a question, or if you think, no, I'm not going to ask that because it's stupid, you're missing out on an opportunity is what you're doing. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot for no reason. We're the only 3 people showing our face. Everyone else is behind their phone, behind their computer. We don't see what you guys look like. They don't see what you guys look like or know who you guys are. So ask those questions. Even if you think it's a stupid question, this is the perfect place to ask those questions. And as you guys see, they took the time to make sure that they answered every single person's question. You know what I mean? So ask those questions, you guys. That's why we have these classes. This is why I like to bring on experts in their field to be able to do this for you guys. So great class, you guys. Again, you guys knocked it out of the park per usual. I didn't expect anything less from the last class. I know Antoine was trying to connect with you guys, so I know he'll probably be reaching out to you guys soon. He said he was really interested, and I know a few other people are. So salute to you guys, what you guys are doing. Keep your foot on the gas. You know, all the Well Squad members, take advantage of this stuff, you guys. Seriously, take advantage. Make something happen. Change the legacy of your family. Change your last name. You know what I mean? Change the legacy for your family's last name. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I'll get with you guys soon.
Thank you, brother, man. God bless y'all, man. Thank you for having us on.
Bye. Have a good days.
Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more videos just like this one.